Hello, Luke here. I would just like to take a moment to disclose upfront that we sometimes talk about sensitive topics in our podcasts, and in fairness to our audience, we will try our best to put specific warnings in the descriptions of each episode. Now on with the show.
Attending Rushmore, who could ask for more? Hello, Mrs. Cross, teach me love and loss. Oh, she's the one who likes all my silly plays. Hang on every word she says. Now I smoke a pack a day, but she doesn't date teens. Doesn't date teens, okay. She's the one, so I saved Latin, and I build an aquarium, and I stalk her just for fun, but she doesn't date teens. Doesn't date teens, well, okay.
Fuck yeah. This is our first Nirvana tie-in, I believe.
Yeah, exactly.
And Max Fisher is the embodiment of school pride. Too bad he's failing prep school and falling in love with a teacher. Join us for Wes Anderson's launch into charm, whimsy, and tweed in Rushmore. Welcome to the Nostalgia Killers podcast, where we revisit films from our youth to see if they still hold up or should be inserted into the great DVD player in the sky. My name is Luke Lond, joined once again, almost as always, by Chuck Starzinski.
That's right. It is I, club president, here to, recruit and sign you guys up. We're starting volleyball club next week.
Take it easy then. And joined once again by Lauren Heney.
Hello, thank you for having me and doing this film today.
Thank you for pretending we didn't drag you into this.
Yeah.
You know, I think I kind of volunteered for it.
All right.
Sure.
Be sure to stick around for the Sonic Death Monkey Top 5, where we talk about our top 5 all-time movie love triangles we might wish to be a part of.
Yeah, this is a spicy one because we've got a married couple on the pod today, so stay tuned for a possible divorce.
And as always, I'd like to throw out the honorary Sam Coughlin spoiler alert, though this movie's been out for 24 years now, 25.
1998.
If you haven't seen this, spoilers ahead.
Spoiler alert, yeah.
Let's go ahead and just jump into our nostalgic attachment. I saw this after The Sixth Sense, so I think it was backwards.
Wait, are these movies connected?
Olivia Williams is in Sixth Sense.
I was like, holy shit, is there like a fan theory?
That's like I at first, before I studied these films, I confused the two.
Whoa.
That's a wild
just because I'd see them on TV as I was walking by, someplace. Okay. I'd be like, oh, there's that one movie with Olivia Williams. There's another movie with Olivia Williams. Oh, but I love this movie. Despite its foibles, its obvious things to nitpick and like really point out, compared to Bottle Rocket, which I hate.
Yeah, Bottle Rocket's one of those that like the 15-minute, heist at the, spoiler alert for another movie.
Came out before.
But
close your ears, Sam.
Close your ears, Sam. The 15 minutes before, like at the end of Bottle Rocket, like that's the movie.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is what he's going to do now for the rest of his career, is this 15-minute segment of Bottle Rocket, which I'm not mad at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was probably 16 the first time I saw it. This was my second Wes Anderson movie ever. My mom had like rented Life Aquatic in the past.
It's Wes Anderson's second movie ever.
I know. But I think this is the first one that I rented on my own as a teenager. Because I was going to the video store and I was like looking for like coming of age angsty things. I was 16. And yeah, it's a movie much like Ghost World that I kind of liked as a kid, but my appreciation deepens every time I watch it and I process it differently and like pick up the themes and whatnot. The older I get, I'm like, oh, that's what's going on. Okay, yeah.
I probably saw this when I was a teenager, probably around 16, 17. Mm-hmm. Probably watched The Royal Tenenbaums first. Like somebody was like, you should watch this.
I think I did too. Yeah.
And I did, and immediately after that wanted to watch everything that was out up until that point. Rushmore wasn't like, it didn't stand out to me, I don't think, right away, but as I got older and my tastes changed, I really do love coming of age stories a lot. This one really like stands out as one of my favorites in his filmography. It's also earlier on, there's just still a little bit of like a rawness to it. It's not as hyper polished as places that he gets to, and it's like very human, and it's just, yeah.
I'm wondering just how much of Max Fisher is Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
Right?
How much of this stuff really happened.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that in the trivia section.
Oh,
Don't
good.
worry.
Oh, very exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting stuff.
My favorite scenes, or my favorite things I remember about this, always there's these are OR scrubs. Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Dirk's, with friends like you, who needs friends?
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite quotes of all fucking time. Yeah.
Fucking Dirk, dude. He's pitch perfect. He's amazing in
Yes.
this movie.
What a great child actor.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, my personal favorite scene is definitely the revenge war between Max and Bloom that keeps escalating, where it's like the bees in the hotel room and like the cutting of the brakes and not convincing, but like telling his wife the truth. Would you like a sandwich?
And then getting her like fired.
Yeah, or trying to get her fired. Yeah, exactly. I love the like, what? Like, why would you fire her? Or why
She's
would
the
she
best
quit?
teacher.
Yeah, exactly.
I had forgotten about the tree in the graveyard.
The tree
That's
is so
such
good.
a great like sight gag. I
Literally
completely
going to kill
forgot.
him. Yeah.
But then he pulls the cord and it does fall
actually
over.
falls.
I'm like, oh my God. What a great gag.
Like, yeah, I was here to kill you.
The scene that I probably like remember the most is the twins' birthday party swimming pool scene.
It's so good.
Which is just dialogueless. Also, the music in this movie is, I mean, all of his movies generally have really good soundtracks, but this one is really good. And
I'll say this is where it starts. Yeah.
yeah, Bill Murray just like drinking, probably just like scotch on the rocks and chain smoking in his like Budweiser trunks.
This movie brought to you by smoking.
Yeah, exactly. Contemplating suicide at the bottom of a pool while a small child swims around you.
Yeah, that little kid is also like, he pops up throughout the whole film, and I don't know if I had really like noticed that before. And he's also a very good child actor.
Quite good, yeah.
It's kind of haunting. All of the montages though are just super duper fun. The first one where it's showing all of his like extracurricular academic
that's like the very beginning of Wes Anderson's like style and milieu like shown on display, which I love.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad he took it from other movies and stuff, but he adopted it as his own so much that you kind of expect it in all of his movies now. And that's how you identify a Wes Anderson film. I'm okay with that.
I'm too. I was going to say for better or for worse, but I like it personally.
It's a style that he stuck to, so you can't fault him for it. I mean,
yeah, it's definitely starting to evolve in this movie. And like, yeah, you can really see the progression over like the next 5-6 movies pushing in different ways stylistically.
Because there was like none of this in Bottle Rocket. I don't know if he had his like hands held behind him and he wasn't allowed to do stylistic stuff, or
I think he was probably just figuring it out. It was probably just like not sure what he wanted to do kind of thing.
I also really love the depiction of the plays within this movie.
Anderson's really good at doing that.
Yeah.
That's why I do like it a lot. A lot of his movies are plays.
Yeah, just like the snippets of dialogue that you catch from Max's script are just really, really fun.
Super adult movies in a high school play.
You enter stage left with a bag of cocaine. It's like, yes.
The first time, this is my first time catching when he's trying to impress Olivia Wilson. He's thinking of going to Harvard was his safety school, but he's thinking of majoring in double math and pre-med.
Yeah.
And like she doesn't even like acknowledge that that's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, he's definitely, he's that like
pathological
liar constantly trying to one up and
Oh yeah. Such a great awkwardness.
Yeah. So anyways, changing subject. He is so great in this performance too, and young, right?
He's only 17.
Nepotism working well for us this time.
I know, that's one of those things where it's like, God, as much as I hate nepotism, it's like, well, every now and then they get it right.
Yeah.
Sometimes, talent is just in the genes, I guess.
Did he get it on nepotism, or was it?
No.
It was like the audition, right?
The audition,
where he actually showed up dressed as Max.
Yeah.
And
they were looking at like literally hundreds of actors, and they even like...
We didn't know who he was until we did Rocky. We learned that he's Talia Shire's son.
Yeah, which also, like, kudos to them for all either picking different stage names or just being, like, in different cousin bloodlines, because,
Yeah, totally.
But also, like, Roman Coppola is, like, a partner of Wes Anderson's further down, like, the line, too.
Anderson works with the Coppolas quite a lot. Yeah.
Family helping family.
Yeah.
And then, another favorite scene of mine is definitely, and I feel like it's probably the most important scene, because it like gives her gravitas and makes her less of like just a pure plot device. But the scene where Rosemary actually calls Max out for being an obsessive, like little manipulative teenage shit.
Which one? There's a couple of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I mean, I guess the big one
where she's like,
what, were you going to fuck me? And he's like,
tell your friends. And he's like,
yeah. Okay.
How crass. Don't say that. And
that's
it's like,
amazingly a scene I forget every time. And when I watch it, I'm like, whoa.
it's got such a punch.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yes.
And then, yeah, that's also what I'm talking about when I say, like, yeah, this movie is something that the older I get and different times in my life that I approach it. Like, when I first saw it, I didn't think he was totally in the right, but I was definitely, you know, I was an angsty, horny little teenager. So it was also like, yeah, why can't he date like a 28-year-old woman? She's being rude. And then, like, obviously was not 15, 16 anymore and was like, oh, yeah, that's creepy and really fucked up and wrong. And yes, he's being a complete monster.
Yeah.
Bleeding into the Roger Deakins Award. Yeah, just how the shots are so meticulously put together and like there's just so much life in the background.
There's a lot more thought gone into this one for sure. A lot more pre-production I can see.
Yeah, the colors just really like beautiful, like emotionally resonant colors, like chosen for specific reasons.
I love the overcast sky. Like they caught the East Coast like environment really fucking well in this movie. It's just dreary and you have to find your own source of light. And
yeah. Do we know where this is supposed to be taking place specifically, or is it non-specific?
I don't ever
Pretty
looked it up.
non-specific. I mean, I know where it was shot, but they make it feel very, dreary East Coast, but it's not.
It's in Texas?
It's shot in Texas.
Texas again? Yeah. Because that's where Anderson's from and the Wilsons. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. I mean, there's parts of Texas that are dreary and
Oh, yeah. I was going to say,
just
I've been there.
overcast all the time. Yes.
It's not all Austin.
Yeah. On to nitpicks and fixes.
Yeah. There's a fucking hard R in this movie. Like, it's only said once, which thank God it's only said once, but also I was like, Tarantino movie, they can put in some hard R's and it's still pretty cringy and stuff like that. Like, I feel like it hits even harder in this because it's like, it's a Wes Anderson movie. It's like the whitest, waspiest, like neoliberal thing you can watch. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, yeah, there it is. And so that like slapped me in the face on this watch because I don't remember that being in here at all.
Where was it?
It's in the play.
It's within his play. He's playing like a gangster.
Yeah.
It's also kind of cringy because they're doing like a cholo, like kind of like lowrider play.
He's
sort
Esposito. He's
exactly.
all of his plays. But yeah.
I don't think Max says it. I think
it's
the person
another character
talking back to him, but he also uses some like interesting ethnic vocabulary for that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Not super necessary, but it kind of falls in line with him like being like a super artistic boundary pushing like player, right?
Exactly.
He's like,
I figured for late 90s, this was really tame.
Oh, yeah, it was really tame for late 90s.
Despite the hard R's and anything else that might have come up.
And then just get the rest of the slur stuff out of the way. Yeah, calling Magnus like an Irish slur. Which, we'll get...
Yeah,
I know, but it's like it's one of those ones where it's like slurs against white people are kind of tame. You know, I don't know if it's a gray area or what, but it's like
yeah. That's I would be far less. I'd find that far less offensive. Than any others. But
and also I think that's just like as we get better as a society, because like when I wouldn't have thought twice like watching it in '98. I'd be like, oh yeah, this is. He's an Irish guy. You call him that.
I just thought it was funny. Like he kept getting it wrong. Like,
exactly.
Despite him being told he's Scottish.
Exactly.
I just thought it was a good gag. I mean, we're used to it, aren't we? I think.
Exactly.
What do you got, Lauren?
None.
Not really. It's a pretty tidy little film.
Yeah.
It's an hour and a half, which is like I set an alarm this morning to try and wake up to watch this, but slept through it.
It's true. It is pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. It is like literally like an hour and a half, and it moves well. I think the pacing's pretty good. There are like a couple little like side quest montage situations, but it's part of the charm. I don't know. Nothing super specific. That was the one thing that I noted as well. It stuck out to me this time.
I probably watch this every 5 years. I do like it, but I do tend to forget how aggressive Max is.
Oh, yeah.
With the teacher.
Towards Rosemary. Watching it this time, I was like, do I like this movie? It's a little, I don't know. But then we go back, we talk about like when we watched Rocky, when he was like pretty much forcing himself on Adrian, but that was like seen as romantic and chivalrous. And
I was going to say, the reason why I don't take I take offense watching it, but I don't take huge offense as a whole to like how creepy and manipulative and all that is, because it's like, that's his character.
I totally
we're
get
not
that.
supposed to like,
I know.
He gets his comeuppance and we're not supposed to necessarily, I don't think we're supposed to root for him and Miss Cross to get together.
Oh yeah, no, don't, but I do feel less sympathetic for Max.
Oh, yeah,
even
most
though
definitely.
he's the one we're supposed to be feeling sorry for. I'm like, oh no, dude.
I don't know if we're supposed to be feeling so because it's done in such a like heightened way that it's what he thinks he should be doing or what he feels like compelled to do because he is like 15-year-old
Yeah.
raging hormones, young gentleman.
Well, there's that one scene where he kind of gives up on his dreams and goes to be a barber with his dad. That's like a 5-minute montage of him. You're supposed to feel sorry for him. You're supposed to be like, he gave up.
Yeah.
Poor Max. And I noticed that this time too. It was like very deliberately done. It was pretty on the nose, not very subtle. But it's, one of Anderson's earlier movies. I can't really blame him for it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I had conflicts this time going through it.
It did stand out to me a little bit more this time too, but I like that she is so grounded and balanced and is like their second scene together. She's literally like, it doesn't
calling it out, back up. Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you like attraction doesn't enter into it. You're 15 years old.
Yeah.
And also maybe I'm just reading too much into it and wanting these people to be good people, but I almost interpret a lot of this stuff too as like almost being, there's times where I do this too, where it's like I look back and like, oh wow, I sucked. But almost being like wistful of like being like, wow, yeah, when I was 15, I was not a good person, you know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I think being true to being a 15-year-old on screen, I think is also super exciting and fun with this movie because it is like, oh yeah, like he's not going to learn his lesson and be like, whoa, gosh, Mrs. Cross, I'm so sorry, da-da-da. No, he's going to be a hormonal little creep who is going to be hung up on her until he's like 19 and then be like, oh, that was a bad idea. I've got one final actual nitpick, if that's okay. It's like a nitpick.
Yeah, go for it.
Rosemary and Mr. Bloom, they're going to go on like a little crisp autumn walk. Rosemary says, I'm going to go grab a sweater. I'll be right back. She's already wearing a fucking sweater.
Does she put on
She puts on a second sweater on top of her sweater.
Sometimes it's cold and you need two sweaters.
She didn't have to like specify she's getting another sweater.
I know, but I mean like that scene
she's
was
getting
just,
a sweater.
I'm just
It's still
saying
true.
like, it's a nitpick. It was literally just one of those like, you want to go
Is
on a
it
walk?
like a KNIT pick?
Yeah, exactly. It's a nit pick.
Lauren with the jokes.
The most upsetting part about that scene is actually that she gets home from work and has a snack, which is sliced carrots on a plate.
Yes. Well, she is having an eating disorder issue, clearly. She is quite waifish.
Did you notice her other meal though? Like I think it was during a montage where she's sitting there reading. She has like a 5-course meal in front of her. It's huge for one person. For one person eating alone, reading a book.
She's bulimic. That's what it is then.
I don't think she has an eating.
No, I don't think so either.
I thought I was watching it this time because it was during a time when all three of them are kind of broken up. They're kind of like not friends with each other. And it just shows her alone reading a book at the dinner table and there's like 6 dishes in front of her. Big
her.
meal. I agree. But it's like it went from carrots to that.
Yeah.
And there's this huge empty table around her to like emphasize that she's alone, but she's also got this giant meal in front of her.
Yeah.
You could eat that for days. Rainy day pairings?
Sure.
You go.
Okay.
I'm trying to decide stuff.
I've got Submarine.
Oh, nice. I want to rewatch that so bad.
Yeah, I want to rewatch it too. Actually, we should do it on the show.
Yes.
Because
Okay.
that's like something when I first saw it, it like punched me in the gut. And I was like, this movie's
I haven't
amazing.
seen that in such a long time.
Right.
I love that movie.
Yeah, for those not in the know, it's an indie coming of age story about a young man not knowing what he wants. And so it's like, hey, that's Rushmore.
He's
So-
also kind of a creepy little jerk,
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Yeah,
He's also
yep.
a little fuck. So
And Richard Ayoade, amazing
Wrote and directed,
filmmaker.
yeah, he needs to actually
do
get behind
more.
the camera more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget what it was. I just noticed he's being in like some bigger films recently, which are great. He's going to be like, he's more prominent now.
Yeah.
He's
Nice.
coming out of hiding, I guess.
Yeah, because the only thing I can think of that he directed aside from Submarine is The Double, which was pretty good.
I like that one. I
Yeah.
bought that over the pandemic and watched it, and I was pretty blown away by how art house and just fucking. It's not an adjective, but Dostoevsky. It was.
Dostoevsky is Ian.
I think it's
Yeah.
based on a Dostoevsky
I think
story.
so. It must be. It must be some Cold War Russian novelist. But yeah, quite good.
You go.
I got Donnie Darko.
Oh.
That's very fitting as well.
Yeah, and for no real reason other than it's a coming of age story, but I also watched it at the same time I watched Rushmore a lot.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was going to say it's very of the era.
Yeah, and it just reminded me of the same turmoil, coming of age, even though the actors are in their early 30s. I guess Rushmore did better. All of their actors are actually teenagers.
Yeah, they're all like
They're supposed
age
to be
appropriate.
teenagers. Yeah.
It's not Gyllenhaal dyeing his grays being like, wow, high school's tough.
God, I couldn't really, because I think I would pair this actually with like Moonrise Kingdom or something like that, which is the other coming of age story. And they're very different also. So as I said, I watched this but like 2 hours ago. So I did my best with the questions.
On to this movie's cocktail.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is only going to make, the thought process even harder, Lauren.
I already drink it pretty much, so.
Yeah, it's giving, if you're wondering, audience, what's giving me my frog in my throat, it's this cocktail. It's the Beekeepers Club. So we've got 1.5 ounces of gin, 1/4 ounce of a honey liqueur, 1/2 ounce of a honey syrup, 3/4 ounce of lemon, and 1 egg white. Shake all the ingredients with ice, strain and dry shake. Serve in a chilled glass and toast to Edward Applebee, the founder of the Rushmore Beekeepers Society.
To Edward Applebee.
To Edward Applebee.
And with that, we'll take our first ad break.
Ad break! And we're back with Nostalgia Killers Trivia. Today on the podcast, we're going to see who knows Rush more or Rush less. All right, question number 1. Whose life experiences are the character of Max Fisher loosely based on? Is it A, Owen Wilson, B, Eric Anderson, who's Wes's brother, C, Luke Wilson, or D, Wes Anderson himself?
D, Wes Anderson.
I'm going to try Owen.
Ding, ding, ding. Luke is correct. It's A, Owen Wilson. At age 15, Owen Wilson was expelled from his prep school and was super infatuated with an older woman. It's kind of a trick question because there's a little bit of
I'm sure, yeah.
Wes Anderson, I'm sure, because he's, it's his movie. So, of course, he's going to be like, well, I played with trains, so we're going to do that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's primarily Owen Wilson.
Yeah, I just noticed that there's the Owen Wilson writing credit.
Yeah, he wrote
kind of prominent, so.
He wrote a few of the early Wes Anderson movies. Also, this is just a quick little tidbit. Luke Wilson is the only person of that, group that wasn't kicked out of their high school.
He seems like the most even-tempered.
Question number 2. True or false? Bill Murray almost tanked the production by being difficult to work with and demanding a higher pay rate mid-shoot.
Probably true.
False.
Ding, ding, ding. Luke is correct. That was a red herring. No, it is false. Bill Murray actually liked the script so much, he wanted to do it for free. But legally, because he's a SAG actor, he couldn't, so he had to be paid scale. And because of that, he actually helped crew as well. So he was carrying sandbags and doing shit on set.
If this ever happened again, I don't think so. But there's
exactly.
every other movie he's ever been in, everyone's had the opposite story.
Yeah, he's got he's like Chevy Chase light.
Diva.
Yeah.
An asshole. Which makes me appreciate this film. Because it's not only done out of the love of Wes Anderson and Owen Wilson. Murray was putting his heart into it and checkbook into it to a lot of parts too.
Question number 3. We already touched on how awesome the soundtrack is. Anderson originally intended, though, for the entire soundtrack to be done by just one band. Was it A, the Rolling Stones, B, the Animals, C, the Kinks, or D, the Who?
Well, my guess is the Stones, because I picked up a lot of Scorsese-isms in this, where he just kind of wants to keep playing the same soundtrack over. He wanted to make a huge music video.
The Rolling Stones, I guess. The Who?
It was the Kinks.
Wow.
Kinks, yeah.
Yeah, he the inspiration was he's angsty and lashing out, and he's the kind of guy who would lash out in a prep school jacket. And so when he thought of that, he's like, oh, the Kinks lash out in prep school jackets. But they only used one song. Question number 4. Screenwriters often recycle unused ideas into their other scripts. Which unused character trait was originally intended for Rushmore? A, Francis's motorcycle crash and bandaged up face from the Darjeeling Limited. B, Margot's loss and replacement of a finger with a wooden finger in the Royal Tenenbaums. C, Moses's abstract nude paintings in the French Dispatch. Or D, Agatha's perfect patisserie work in Grand Budapest Hotel.
C.
B.
Ding, ding, ding. Luke is correct. It is B. Margaret Yang was originally supposed to have lost her finger in a previous science project, and she was going to have a wooden finger that was going to be like one of her things, and she like taps it and it just like irritates Max. It like was going to be one of those like, I don't like you, you're that girl with the loud hand, basically kind of thing.
I think he grew up with a pirate or something, and it just annoyed him. Like one of his characters in all of his films is like a pirate.
Question number 5. Although Anderson himself has said that Mason Gamble, the young man who plays Dirk, is pitch perfect for the role and he couldn't imagine anyone else doing it, why was Mason almost not cast? Was it A, he lied about his age at the audition? B, his parents were suffering from high-profile legal troubles? C, he had a starring role in a blockbuster film a couple years back? Or D, I don't have a D, so A, B, or C?
D, it's D. No.
A.
Starring role?
Ding, ding, ding. Luke is correct.
Oh.
Gamble played the titular Dennis the Menace in the 1993 live-action film. Anderson loved the audition, but was worried he'd be too recognizable at the time and would distract from the movie, because it's like this little indie project that only costs like, a few million, and then you've got like, oh, you hired the Dennis the Menace kid?
I imagined before you gave the answers that it was like he actually cast one of the Culkin brothers.
Ah.
And they had to drop out, so he like grabbed someone else.
Question number 6, true or false? Jason Schwartzman was only 17 when he starred in Rushmore. To work around some of the scenes, parts of the movie are filmed in Jason's actual high school, so he would miss fewer classes. True or false?
I'm gonna get this wrong, so false.
I'll say false too.
Ding, 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 you both are correct. It was primarily filmed in Anderson's old high school, St. John's, which is the one he got kicked out of.
Nice.
Which is in Houston, Texas. And then the shots of the public school are literally from the public school a block down the street. Question number 7. This being Anderson's second film, he wasn't sure if he was going to get to make a handful more, so he tried to put himself in it. How many cameos does Wes Anderson make in this movie?
2.
3.
Ding, ding, ding. Lauren is correct.
Ooh.
I'm really turning this trivia around, guys.
He is the first voice you hear trying to solve the math equation in the dream.
I don't know, including voice cameos.
He is in the go-karting scene, the background, like when Max is posing. And then he plays one of the play attendants as well. And now we're on to Usual Suspects. Question number 8. As I said before, hundreds of teenagers were auditioned for the role of Max. The audition process went on for a year and a half because they had to find the correct actor.
Jesus.
What age-appropriate actor from a previous reviewed film was highly considered?
Yeah, I have no idea about this.
I'm just trying to think who would be the right age. You guys have done a lot of movies now.
I know.
So...
Mm-hmm.
It was Macaulay Culkin.
Oh, Macaulay Culkin.
Wow.
That's right.
He was honestly the ideal actor for the role because the original script was supposed to be about a very tall, lanky, kind of just like...
Gotcha.
Yeah, Anderson actually rewrote it after Schwartzman's audition because he liked Schwartzman so much. He's like, okay, we're going to change this and this and this because there was like some weird things that were supposed to kind of play into how like, thin and waifish he was.
Right.
I really like that they gave him braces.
I know.
It's pretty good, pretty cringy and good. Like,
It's spot on.
Every time he smiles, I'm like, oh. I had braces. I remember what that's like.
Question number 9, multiple choice. Brian Cox, who played Captain O'Hagan in Super Troopers, landed the role of the Dean in Rushmore due to Anderson absolutely loving a previous performance of his. Was it A, Hannibal Lecter in Manhunter, B, Kierkegaard in Hidden Agenda, or C, King Henry II in The Devil's Crown?
C.
I'm going to go with D, Rob Roy.
Believe it or not, it was Hannibal Lecter in Manhunter.
I've never seen that.
I haven't either.
It's it's like an 80s version of The Red Dragon.
I would like to watch it.
I was going to say, I'm surprised you haven't seen it. That seems like right up your alley.
Low core, as we're calling
Exactly,
it now.
low core. That's what we're calling it.
I actually recently watched the post Silence of the Lambs. I think it's called just Hannibal. It has Julianne Moore in it.
There's Hannibal and Red Dragon.
And then there's one that's like Hannibal Rising, which is a period piece.
Oh, yeah.
Which is...
I haven't watched any of those.
You could keep it that way and probably live a satisfied
right.
life.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've never seen Rising, but Hannibal is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
And finally, do or die, question 10. Jason Schwartzman's mother, Talia Shire, who was in Rocky, was extremely proud of her son's performance and wanted to show her brother, Francis Ford Coppola. Coppola was not a fan of this movie and was actually quite offended by one scene in particular. What scene was it? And bonus point if you can tell me why.
Was it the Vietnam play?
That's what I would put.
That is incorrect. It would actually be way cooler. No, Francis Ford Coppola was very petty, apparently. Francis Ford Coppola took offense to the post-play dinner scene because there are clearly seen images of bottles of Far Niente, which is a wine made in the Napa Valley.
Niente, I did work for them, yeah.
And that wine in 98 was Coppola's biggest competitor.
Oh Jesus.
So he saw it as like a slap in the face. Like,
I hate to break it to you, Francis. You've never been a competitor for anyone in Napa.
No.
Seriously.
I love you, but no.
Yeah.
Just
Not
really
even
bad.
the Diamond Collection.
No. Oh, you turned into a bunch of wine snobs.
Although that being said, if you'd like to sponsor the podcast,
Francis, we're taking your money if you want.
Let's put them up against each other. Francis, you can fund us, or Farniente, you can fund us.
yeah, exactly.
One or the other, not both.
Or both.
Also throwing it out there, Barefoot, if you're listening. Cooks,
Josh.
Josh,
Oh, fine.
Josh, I know you're out there. Mr. Corbell, where you at, buddy?
Can I throw in Bailey's? We can do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we're not. Oh, no. It's Bailey's is probably more on brand. It's like Twisted Tea. Come holler at us, please.
Well, going back to talking about people who do give us money, thank our executive producer, Addie Martinez.
Oh, Addie.
Thank you, Addie.
Thank you, Addie.
As
Addie,
always, I'm trying really hard to get the podcast up on YouTube for you.
you were my Rushmore, Addie.
And if you would like to support us by being an executive producer and have your name shouted out on the podcast, you can support us for $15 a month on Patreon. Patreon.com/The Nostalgia Killers.
Yeah, for $15 a month, you can also be my Rushmore. We get like 3 more of you guys. You can be my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
I think we've established that you sell out pretty cheap.
Oh, yeah. Oh, come on. Twisted Tea. Once again. Delicious product if you're listening.
And let's take, hopefully they're on our second ad break.
Yeah. All right. Stay tuned for ads for Mad Dog 2020.
For Loco.
Exactly. Ad break number 2.
And we're back with Act 3, the award categories, where we start off with my new band name, which I couldn't really come up with one. There's a million lines I love in this, but I just couldn't think of anything clever. So I just wrote down with a friend like you who needs friends.
Nice.
I don't know if that's a band or a song name.
Yeah, I had like 10 and I whittled it down to 3.
I'll just say mine and then you can
Yeah,
go
no,
ahead
please
and
do.
Lauren's already tapped out.
Exactly.
with this new year, I'm practicing like self-care in the form of surrender to the things that I have
So
no
it's a
control
weird thing to
in.
say while brandishing a knife.
My band name is OR They Them,
Oh,
which is a gender-bending like riot punk band.
yeah.
Fucking love it.
I dig it. That's awesome. I was trying so hard to come up with something with that line, but that's awesome.
Also, thank you for taking part in this segment. Normally, you are a conscientious objector. I'll fire my 3 off really quick. We can move on. I've got Backbone Bankruptcy. They're a political rap rock band along the lines of like Rage Against the Machine. And it's from the line, "Take aim at the rich boys. They can buy anything except a backbone." I have Pipe Dreams of a Barber's Son. They're an Arcade Fire style 2000s indie band with like 30 people in the band that play the trumpet and like, the harpsichord and all of that. And my last one is one of my favorite like little just throwaway lines in the whole movie is "Pray for Surf Boy." They're a melancholy instrumental surf rock band. It's like, yeah, I want to see his play. I want to see Heaven or Hell. Like, just because
me too.
I just love that. Yeah, it's like, say a prayer for Surf Boy. Probably see him sooner than later. Kind of thing. Just like a war is hell, and we're all Yeah,
I also enjoy that he's just like,
it's just Platoon. That's all. Yeah, I do love that too. That he's like this. Yeah, like quote unquote like enigmatic like playwright and all this, and like all he does is he just like scribes movies he's seen.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Also dedicating a play about Platoon to your mom, like really like heartfelt too. Like, and most of all, this one goes out to my mother.
and also protective eyewear
Yeah, exactly.
because of the live explosives on stage.
The actual dynamite. I love
Selling
it.
children dynamite. Yeah.
Yes. I'd love, I don't know if it was a statement or not, just having the special effects being that in their face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I took it as so and I laughed. Like, he's making fucking Michael Bay. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Right on to the Roger Deakins Will Be Proud Award. And I couldn't pick one. It's just where Wes Anderson found his style and was allowed to use it.
Yeah, there are so many beautiful, like, singular shots. The final shot for me is like so beautiful. The composition of Max and Rosemary dancing, it's all in slow motion, and it's like a really nice way to end the movie without feeling super like disgustingly like saccharine or anything like that. Like the music's playing and you have these fireworks going off in the background, and it's just like everybody has like healed a little bit and come back together again, and everybody's like, for right now, everybody's at peace. You know?
Yeah, there's redemption all around.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah,
no, it's very sweet. Yeah, this entire movie is a fucking Roger Deakins award. It's just beautifully shot, but I narrowed it down to three. The three that like were the most, left the biggest impact on me. I've got Max and Miss Cross feeding the fish dolly. So they use a window pane perfectly to separate them.
Yep.
And then the moment that they connect over loss, like Max mentions that his mom died and she mentions that her husband has passed, all of a sudden they're brought together in the dolly.
Well, look at you, film school boy.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It was like one of those like, oh yeah, that's like spot on.
That was quite good.
And they're kind of, I think it goes up and down from like in aquarium perspective to them on top feeding the fish too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I've got Max when he's interrogating Bloom, which is also one of my favorite lines. It was almost a band name. How was she, Herman? When he's smoking at 2 a.m. in the back of his car. But Max exits the car, and then, like, it's a one take. He exits, he says his line, exits, and then walks perfectly in frame of the passenger window. And it's just this, like, beautiful shot where it's, like, all of the foreground is blacked out because it's nighttime, and you just have the one spotlight, like, street light on Max. And it's just, it's great.
There's a dramatic pause in there to it. I only noticed this time. It was pretty good and pretty meaningful, I think. Where he goes out and Max reframes himself like for the camera. And then you think he's going to say his line, but he doesn't.
And then my final one, I promise we'll move on, is Dirk looking in on Max's expulsion. It's just this beautifully framed melancholy shot of Dirk kind of just like, it's just his face perfectly in frame in the window pane. And it's just him kind of like somberly like taking in that him and Max won't get to really see each other very often because he's getting kicked out of school.
We'll move on to, is that Channing Tatum on a dog collar?
The only one that I thought would kind of fit into this category is Connie Nielsen, which is Dirk's mom. And she's like in Gladiator as...
That's where she's from.
Yeah. And then she's also in the like more recent like Wonder Woman movies.
Okay.
Too. So she's actually like still working and doing stuff and makes money.
Sure.
And then everybody else is just like staples that get used again and again in like Wes Anderson movies. Yeah. Mr. Little Jeans.
Yep.
Mine was a cop-out. Like I had the same exact realization that Mr. Anderson did. I had Mason Gamble from Dennis the Menace. Okay. Because I was like, that kid looks so familiar. What the hell is he in? And then was just like, halfway through the movie was like, oh, that's Dennis the fucking Menace, isn't it? And I had to look it up and I was like, he is. It's Dennis the Menace.
I had, I always forget that there's more goddamn Wilson brothers, but Andrew Wilson, the Coach Beck, he's also in Idiocracy. He plays Beef Supreme.
Oh, shit.
The monster truck driver. The flamethrower.
I didn't realize that.
That's my Channing Tatum as Beef Supreme is in this movie.
I have not watched Idiocracy in a long, long time. Does it hold up?
It does. Everything that would be bad is being called out for being bad in the movie. So it's like, it's self-aware.
I'd like to call an audible and throw in a new category I'm going to call a needle lift instead of a needle drop. Two bands that I can think of, there probably are more reference dialogue from this movie, kind of like how we make our band names. So first of all, Fall Out Boy coming in with a poor choice. Tell that Mick he just made my list of things to do today is a Fall Out Boy song. And then the other one, ironically, band made poor choices, but not on their song title. Brand New with the song Sick Transit Gloria, Glory Fades.
All right, on to Why I Like Waterworld, a controversial hot take.
I got one, yeah. This is a hot take, I feel like. I think I prefer late career Bill Murray to rambunctious 80s, like, coked out dickhead Murray. He's just slightly more grounded. I like the melancholy, like, kind of more like, all right, yeah. Like, life's passing me by. Here we are, man. This is what happens when you're, like, perpetual bachelor, like, kind of thing that he does in his later career.
Mine is, I think Jason Schwartzman is the Tom Cruise that we should have had.
Ooh, yeah.
Wow.
I've always mistaken Schwartzman for Tom Cruise.
They're both short kings.
Like when you see him out and
just
about.
their face, their expressions. Do you ever see Spun?
We'll do Spun on the show too.
He's very Tom Cruisey in Spun, just manic. The hair and the the same shaped face. I don't know if they're actually related. Maybe Tom Cruise is a Coppola. I don't know. But
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
But anytime I see Tom Cruise, I think Schwartzman could do this better. Could be an action star. He could be highly dramatic.
Could probably do Scientology better too.
I really like Jason Schwartzman
me too.
So much. But I guess the majority of the stuff that I think of him in or would say is like favorite movie or project would be like more comedic roles, definitely.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I think of like Eyes Wide Shut.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have rather had a Schwartzman.
That would be wild.
In that one.
Yeah.
And we're getting up to our mixed movie or movie mashups thing. But yeah, that kind of, every time, it's just something that happens. Every time I see Schwartzman, I'm like, oh, he should have been in these Tom Cruise movies. Vanilla Sky. I mean, I don't know about Mission Impossible and all that stuff, but all the dramatic stuff, I would have rather had Schwartzman. That's my hot take.
Yeah, stand by that hot take.
Yeah.
And on to our Blue Velvet meets Blue's Clues movie mashup.
Haven't had a lot of time to workshop this, but I thought of doing, it's Mad Max, and it's actually a documentary about the character of Max putting on a post-apocalyptic play.
Okay.
Oh my God, that's
so
amazing.
We're going deeper into the world of his like creative theatrical universe, which is something that I wanted to see more of. And so we're getting it like more documentary style, like handheld kind of camera movie.
All right. I got I mentioned it before because I confused the two, but Sixth Sense. Just because of Olivia Wilson or Williams. If this movie Max was, Haley Joel Osment, and he was walking around a school full of dead kids, ghosts and stuff, and it was all ghosts.
But it's still the same movie.
Still the same movie.
Yeah.
Bill Murray, dead walking around. So maybe even Ghostbusters. I don't know.
Yeah, mine was a little less clever. Mine is Rushmore meets Welcome to the Dollhouse. So I want to see what that sick bastard Todd Solondz would do with the affluent, quirky characters of a Wes Anderson movie. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a bad movie probably, but would Rosemary and Max have a secret love child? Would Max accidentally kill Bloom? Like, would there be like, because it's always, yeah.
All right, on with that, we'll go on to our Here Comes Kanye. Cards. We are having our fundraiser for our Nostalgia Killers playing cards.
Pick a card, any card.
Pick all the cards.
Yeah.
Pick multiple cards, multiple decks. You can order more than one.
Yeah. Great cards. I have played with them personally, as in playing card games, not weirdly playing with them. Sturdy, visually exciting design features.
Oh, thank you.
Lovely color palette. Just all around the best deck of cards I've ever touched or seen in my life.
Thank you, Lauren. They're available on Indiegogo. You can see a link for them on our Instagram, and should be on our webpage too, but I haven't done that yet. Damn. I suck.
That's all right. I suck too. We all suck. It's, that's kind of the beauty of Rushmore is you learn like, everyone has faults and that's okay. Speaking of having faults, I should have probably mentioned this earlier. Lauren, would you like to promote anything?
Yes, I am working on a play right now, much like Max pouring my heart and soul into the theater. I am stage managing a production of The Wind in the Willows, the beloved children's story about woodland river creatures. And, it's a musical. There'll be singing, there'll be dancing. General admission is like $20, so pretty sweet deal. And we open on May 3rd at Spreckles in Rohnert Park. Come see it because I am working a lot very hard on this show.
That is Rohnert Park, California. But everyone else listening, hi, Mom. Thanks.
Right on. Should we move on to our Do We Call Jules and Vincent?
I will not. I think this movie lives personally.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yep.
It's one of those movies that,
it's knocked out of the park. Just fucking good job by everybody involved.
Super enjoyable. If you haven't seen it, totally worth,
for sure,
90 minutes of your time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also I can recommend this one to folks who aren't huge, like Wes Anderson fans, because it's like where he's kind of still figuring himself out. So if you're like, I hate how cutesy and cookie cutter and storybook everything is and how twee the entire film feels, this one's, as Lauren had said earlier, it's a little raw. So like
it's still firmly planted in the real world.
Exactly.
Yeah. On to our Sonic Death Monkey top 5.
Yeah. I was like, this one won't be easy.
Where we talk about top 5 favorite movie love triangles that we might wish to be part of. I had a hard time finding movies with love triangles.
I didn't. I was like, I wouldn't want to be a part of that love triangle necessarily. So I kind of adapted it, as you guys really do with this final question, to just being groupings of 3 that I would want to be a part of in a possibly sexual, but maybe non-sexual.
A little polyamory, a little throuple action.
Like a little aromantic hanging out sometimes.
Gotcha. Nice.
Some of them are viscerally romantic, though.
Well, I'm going to ape your caveat too then, just so I don't sound
Yeah.
like a total creep. I hope you guys took this serious.
I did.
I'm just kidding.
I know. I had a lot of fun with this one. I actually, I'll save it for. There was like a couple that I came up with that I was like, yeah, and then I was like, oh, that's problematic as shit. Like there was one where there was like an age thing that I didn't really like take into account because I was like, well, it's like they're an adult like when they filmed it, but I'm like, oh, I think they're playing a teenager. No, I'm not gonna put that one down. And then another one where I was like, I couldn't do that to Roger Rabbit. That would be so cool.
I will kick it off with, and this is maybe my most problematic one, if they're actually related.
Oh.
The Sanderson sisters from Hocus Pocus.
Oh.
Whoa, that is problematic. I like it.
Yeah, when I was looking at Love Triangles, one that came up again that is a film that I kind of forgot about, but it's The Dreamers. Do you remember that one?
That's one I still want to watch because Sala's in it, right? Is it Devon Sawa or?
It's Michael Pitt.
Michael Pitt. That's
I've never seen The Dreamers.
Yeah, and
He's like the only
Eva
other
Green.
Pitt movie I know about.
And then some French dude. But it is problematic because it's like an incest story. Love Triangle.
Oh. Maybe I don't want to watch it.
I don't know.
Is this your 5 and 4, or is this just
No.
Oh,
I was
okay.
just like, I'm thinking that one is like a non-romantic hang.
Non-romantic.
Just
Okay.
like a cool
Okay.
witchy situation.
a sisterly love triangle.
Yeah.
Well, I hadn't thought about mine that deeply, but I was just going to put out there's something about Mary, and I would hope to be like the good person in the whole group, like that wasn't stalking her or I don't know, trying to manipulate her into liking me or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, mine are full disclosure. My top 5 are listed in maybe not favoritism, but how much bodily harm I would receive by being part of said love triangle. So it's like definite death, and then like by the end of it, it's like it could be a healthy relationship.
So you're thinking about an unsuccessful.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at movies and I was like, I was like trying to figure out love triangles and stuff. And then I was like thinking of like this and that. And I was like, oh, like all these are very problematic and I'm going to die. So my number 5 is actually not a love triangle, a love septagon, I think would be the shape.
How
7
many?
points.
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyways. So my number 5
They're
is
like, sure, buddy. Yeah.
Sure, bud. Number 5 is Maxine, Bobby Lynn, Lorraine, Jackson, Wayne, and RJ from the horror movie X. So look, I'm going to die. All right. I'm going to get murdered no matter what.
Right.
I don't stand a chance. But I do get to hook up with Mia Goth, Brittany Snow, Kid Cudi, and Jenna Ortega on a porno shoot. So, what a way to die.
Wow.
This is the top 5 that dissolves marriages.
Yeah, I wish we could put that look over the audio. That's
We can recreate it for a picture for the Instagram, I'm sure.
that'll be Chuck dangling from the balcony, I think.
Yeah. I guess my list is like defined by the fact that there are just 3 characters.
Yeah.
So my next one is Brady Hopper and Quint from Jaws. I guess we could throw in the shark in there as well.
Bruce.
Yeah.
Risking it all for Bruce.
Animatronic chomping situation. That seems like
Yeah.
I'm into that. The sea,
My number 4 would be suitor number 4 in Mallrats, vying for Claire Forlani's. I might win. I don't know.
Yeah.
Be a very different ending to the movie. I'm hoping to get Kevin on for that one.
Oh, yeah.
What were you thinking? Just berate him entirely. He'd think it was a friendly podcast. He's done a million of them. No. Welcome to hell, Kevin.
Exactly. Yeah, my number 4. We're getting smaller.
Smaller groupings.
Smaller groupings. This is my love square.
Oh.
So my number 4 would be Susie, Sam, Kelly, and Ray from Wild Things.
Oh, yeah. That was a wild movie.
Yeah. So once again, probably going to die.
Yep.
Or at the very least end up in prison. But, that's a risk you have to take for 90s Nev Campbell.
I can kind of see where your list is going, I feel like. Yeah, you can bleep it out if I'm correct, but if it doesn't culminate with some Showgirls reference.
It doesn't, surprisingly. I thought about it. It was high up there. And then I was like, oh.
Do you like doggy chow?
Yeah. was like, maybe Gina Gershon, but yeah, it was. Yes, you see where this is going.
Not the Kyle MacLachlan swimming pool scene, part of that one.
Yeah.
Splash, splash. My next pick would be Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli.
Oh, yeah.
A fellowship.
Sure.
One ring, eh?
Yeah. To rule my home.
Yeah, I was going to say one Nuva ring.
My number 3 is another Mary, but from Dumb and Dumber.
Oh.
It would be Harry, Lloyd, and me. And
there you go.
I'd just be the guy in the back of the van. Eating Cheetos or whatever.
Chugging ketchup and mustard.
Yeah.
My number 3 is Luke's number 5. I have Ted, Mary, and Healy for There's Something About Mary. Look, Woogie is going to ruin my life. And I probably couldn't compete with Brett Favre. But just by, like Luke said, just by not being a problematic stalker, I probably have a leg up on half the competition.
Yeah, I have some arguments to make when we watch that movie. But
yeah.
We'll get to that eventually.
Oh, it's coming up, yeah.
Yeah.
My number 2 would be Donkey, Shrek, and Fiona.
Oh!
I like the diversity.
Sure. I highly contemplated that one, but I feel like I talk about Shrek almost every podcast, so that's the only reason I left it off the table.
Here I am to bring it around again. Yeah, pals going on an adventure.
Sure.
Love.
Also, if you time it right, like you start your little like kind of orgy at Twilight, Fiona becomes an ogre halfway through.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Instant nut.
I just have to let you know we're going to be using a lot of your sound bites for ads.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's going in the theme song, I think.
Instant nut.
Instant nut. Donkey. Trying to think how to phrase this, but my number 2, I don't know who else will be involved. Tina Turner in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Oh.
I've already brought up Mad Max already, but I had a major crush on her growing up, and I don't care who else is there. I would just want to be able to date her. Be like, I'm her Wednesday or her gal Friday or whatever.
It has devolved into Luke just has a crush.
Yeah.
And wants to make it a love triangle to fit onto the list.
I don't care who else is involved. If I don't get to be the only one, that's fine.
Okay. Great.
My number 2 is, and again, it's de-escalating. So we're not necessarily going to die.
Just like bodily harm.
Just bodily harm. So yeah, number 2 is Sean, Lauren, Paul, Laura, and Victor. So that's what, 5? So that is, we're back. We're officially at a pentagram of love, basically.
It's messy, whatever it is.
It's messy, whatever's happening. And the movie is The Rules of Attraction. So yeah, you'd be swimming in a sea of drugs and gorgeous sexually awakened college kids. But the problem is you're bound to get emotionally and probably physically hurt because they're all such shitty people.
Yeah.
At the very least, you're going to catch one of the STDs from the STD book that they reference. So it's not going to be a good time, but, it'll be a crazy couple months.
I would like to, before we go on to our number 1 picks overall, just take a moment to do a quick, honorable mention that I don't see getting picked, but I feel like this was referenced in, so many, I looked online very quickly to, poke around, but Casablanca is, a classic movie, and it is, the most well-known love triangle of all time. But when I thought about it more, I was like, she's in a tough position, and I don't think anybody's happy in the end. No. So I don't really want to get involved with that. All right. For my number 1 pick overall, also messy, also dangerous. Definitely a love triangle. It is Bella, Edward, and Jacob from...
I was wondering when this is going to come up.
Any of the Twilight.
Any of them. Is there a point in their relationship as someone who has not seen the films where it's like, oh, that's a good time to get in? You don't sell your stock just yet. You're like, no, this is the buying time.
I think if you're looking for the peak of the triangle happening, it actually happens inside of a tent, which is also a triangle.
Of love.
Of love. And the third movie, how many points on a triangle? 3. How many sides? 3. Twilight, Eclipse, and yeah, it's just the most ridiculous, horny, stupid setup. And essentially, there's a vampire that's going to come and kill Bella because she is, responsible for the death of the other vampire. They're hiding Bella, basically, on a mountaintop. in the middle of a snowstorm. So she's there with her boyfriend, Edward, obviously, but he's a undead vampire, cold. And she's fucking freezing. But guess what? Her bestie, who is also kind of in love with her, is a werewolf, and they run really hot. So
blood.
Edward gets like lightly cucked as Jacob, shirtless Jacob, super ripped. Yeah, just like snuggles Bella there.
I appreciate your description, but I still don't want to watch these movies.
More important than Casablanca cinematically.
It's done more for the culture, let's be real.
Truly.
God damn it. All right. I'll watch that with Shrek. How's that?
If I put a black and white filter on it, would you feel better about it?
You make it a silent movie and put title cards in between. Yeah.
I'll just do the voiceover for the characters for you.
I will say I've become a fan of Kristen Stewart. She is like blooming and like amazing. My number one's a little boring, but it's the probably the largest movie crush I've ever had. It was Audrey Tautou and Amélie.
Chez La Femme.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know if I would be in a love triangle, but I would try to beat that guy up.
Yeah, he sucks.
And take Amélie, yeah. I was a little disappointed in him at the end, but that's putting myself much higher than I put myself in my mind anyways, but yeah.
I think you got it.
My number one, safest, actual triangle. We're finally there. We finally got it on the tracks, people.
This was a geometry experiment for you.
Exactly. It's also a geometry experiment because I'm like, what are shapes?
And you're just like counting on your fingers.
Exactly.
What does this mean?
I've got my little abacus. I'm like, okay, so there's 6. So that's... My number one is Pee-wee, Dottie, and the Bicycle from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Also, sorry. Said bicycle. So once she gets over Pee-wee, Dottie and I, we're settling down. Pee-wee's gonna be totally fine with it because he's asexual. He's an ace. And in the meantime, I can hang out with Pee-wee for a bit. And then, when he's getting his tassels tightened and whatnot, me and Dottie, we become close. I'm gonna take that bike for a spin behind his back.
Thank you, everybody, for your coming to this meeting and admitting.
And also, look, marriage is about truth and honesty. We're stronger than ever now.
Don't touch me.
And that brings us to the end of our show. If you're still listening, thank you. I have been Luke Lowndes.
I have been Chuck Starzensky.
I have been Lauren Heney.
And we have been the Nostalgia Killers.
Bang, bang.